Here's a little something that I'm working on today while we're waiting for baby to come. I have an arrangement of the kids' letters spelling out their names, and we're going to put it on the wall like in a crossword puzzle. And I had decided in the spaces in between we would add some framed pictures and some wall art. So I picked up these wooden hearts. And I got love and family, and we're going to paint these and put them on the wall. So here I've got them all painted. I used 2 layers of, well, first I primed them with spray paint primer. And I did this outside. Yep, these are hearts. We did gray primer so that we would have good coverage. And then I did 2 layers of gray paint and 2 layers of navy. So we chose these colors because I painted a bookshelf in the kids' room this color, and their dresser is eventually going to be this color also. But they have gray and blue blankets coming. They have blue bed skirts, light blue walls, and dark blue curtains. So these have thoroughly dried. It's been about a half a day, and these came pre-stained from the craft store. So all I had to do, I already had this glue. This is wood glue. You could probably use regular Elmer's glue. I know Elmer's does make a wood glue. This is just what I already had on hand. And I didn't have any paintbrushes handy, so I'm using a Q-tip. And I'll let this dry for a day. Don't mind Bethany. She's being very helpful today. So if you're watching the pregnancy vlog, which is where I'm going to splice this in, I am at 41 weeks and 1 day today. And baby is not showing signs of coming. Okay, so we can put this on a diagonal this way, the same as matching, or this way. Plus then, if it's not exactly in the right spot, I won't freak out about it. Make sure that you put just a light pressure. That way you don't have glue squeezing out the sides. And I'm actually just going to put like a soup can on these. Dry. So these will probably be dry and ready to hang in about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to let them dry a little longer just because I'm not in a rush. And you can see here I just put my glue on a piece of scrap paper so that I could avoid squeezing it out of the tube. Bethy is so busy, look at her. She has figured out the tops of her brother's model paint is magnetic. And she's got these magnets that she's playing with. That's why it's so noisy. So that's that step. We're going to go ahead and let these dry. Hi everyone. So here I am, still holding in there at 41 weeks and 3 days. My due date has came and gone. I underwent the non-stress testing and the AFI test to check to make sure that baby's water is okay. I actually did not have a follow-up appointment scheduled, and they didn't have one available for me. So we're just kind of holding it out with the assumption that I'm going to go any day. So here is a little belly shot for you. Actually woke up with some back pain in my upper back this morning, and it was wrapping around to my ribs, which is really high for any kind of labor pains. But it got me up nonetheless, and I was up very early this morning and had a little bit of breakfast and did a little bit of housework, and then just kind of crashed out on the couch until the kids got up. In the meantime, while I have been waiting for baby to come, I did a little bit of research on my own because I have been overdue in the past. I was overdue with Jack 2 weeks, and I was overdue with my daughter several weeks. So it has been a long time, and also with 2 of my pregnancies, they induced me. So who knows, you know, if I would have gone over or not. With Murdoch, he was laying sideways in my belly. He was transverse, and they had to do the abdominal, can't think of it right now. But anyways, they turned him, and then they were worried that he would go back. So they had me go to the hospital and be induced the next day. And with Bethany, they said my waters were low, but they had not done an ultrasound to measure my waters. So where they came up with that and why I kind of feel like I fell for it, you need to know that any medicine is a business, and they are there to make some money. And one of the first things you should find out from your OBGYN when you start going there pre-baby or post-baby is what is that particular office's rate of induction and cesarean. Because 2 things I found out. If the number is high, it's high for a reason. It's not just, oh, everyone in this area needs to be induced. You know what? It's that doctor's affiliation with the hospital and their desire to make money. Not just you as a patient. And at the practice that I came from, there were several doctors. There must have been at least 8 female doctors and 4 or 5 male doctors that went between 2 different locations. So it was best to rotate through several different doctors to get comfortable with everybody, to get to know them, because you didn't know what you were going to get when you went to delivery. So this time, they know up front I'm not interested in cesarean or induction. The Pitocin contractions were the absolute worst that I've ever had in my life. Okay, so little Bethy was throwing a fit because somebody took her fidget spinner from her. So sorry about that. So I found out that in my old practice, because there were so many doctors and because they are basically owned and operated by the hospital, they were doing everything they could to kind of cover their back and make as much money as possible. Certain things to know before you go to the hospital are like the consent forms that they want you to sign for your care and for baby's care, and just in general, intake and discharge procedures and the procedures for anything that would happen in case there was a hiccup in your care, as far as needing emergency surgery for you or the baby, or NICU care for the baby. So just know those things before you go. I think it's important to have a little bit of an education before you go, because they're not going to just let you walk out when your tests come back negative and they've got your child in the NICU. The other thing is, I found out that because I've had so many late pregnancies that go into 42 and plus weeks, is that if they do an ultrasound to determine your due date in the first trimester, it can be plus or minus wrong 7 to 10 days. So with me, I'm usually nursing another baby when I get pregnant with the next one, and I'm the type that I generally feed the babies for 2 to 2.5 years nursing. They're on solid foods, but it's enough that my body hasn't returned to a normal cycle yet. So when you're having irregular or no cycle, they do the first trimester ultrasound to determine your due date. So because that can be off so far, if your practice that you're going to for your OB care is inclined to do inductions and cesareans, then you're kind of setting yourself up for that procedure, and I kind of want to just let baby come on his own. So my current doctor's office did not have an available appointment to get me in for a 41-week checkup. I think they just kind of figured maybe I would go over the weekend. Again, I'm declining being checked. The pelvic exams are not a pleasure, and that's not going to help baby come any faster because I don't want them to do membrane sweeps or break my water. Because, number one, Bethy's birth weight was really low. She was just under 6 pounds. Most of my babies are close to 8 pounds. And they could have let her stay there for 2 weeks more because they did not actually have a ultrasound reading saying what my water levels were for the baby. And knowing now, I just didn't use the internet then like I do now. I did online shopping. I use it much, much more for education for myself and for the family and for healthcare and just in general questions, because these aren't things that you think to ask. I just kind of thought, okay, they said that she needs to be delivered. I went in 2 days later and got delivered, and finding out now it could have all been avoided. So the induction includes Pitocin and other artificial means of uterine stimulation to get the contractions going, and there are things that you can do at home. So if baby's not ready, baby's just not ready, and if baby's in distress, baby needs to come out. So these late babies do need to be monitored, and intervention needs to be handled at the time that the baby needs it. Not because the doctor needs money or because the hospital needs more money or to fill their beds. So that being said, 41 weeks, it is Thursday afternoon, and we're just kind of hoping that maybe baby would wait at least until Friday afternoon. All the pains that I was having this morning just went away, and when I move around too much or do a little bit. I did a little squatting and bending this week, doing some painting for my husband, and I was definitely sore in my pelvic region and in my hips because of the relaxin'. So my joints are definitely ready to deliver. Baby's just not quite ready to come yet. So we're waiting on him, and we will keep you posted with what happens in the next couple of days. So thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.